Welcome back. We're in our relocation series, and if you're following along, this is where an owner, property owner, decides to sell to buy, relocate, and buy elsewhere, or maybe even rent, but primarily to buy again. So, sell to buy relocation series. Now, today's topic is we're going to cover the people involved. And the reason I like to make this video is because, when you work with an agent, yes, we're the front line. We're there on a regular basis, putting out fires, assisting where we can, though we have a whole team behind us. And a lot of times they don't get the credit. So through this video, I'm hoping, one, you have awareness of who these people are and what they do, and secondly, that we can recognize them and, as a professional, thank them here publicly. Okay, so as we go through this list that I've put together, I'll highlight some of the roles, others I'll kind of just move, push through, because it's a long list. Okay, so stick with me, because if you're thinking of relocating at some point, you want to know who the players are and who'll be there to support you. Okay, so obviously this ball gets started or gets rolling with you, the property owner. If you're the person that decides to hire an agent, which is the second role, commonly known as the listing agent, and you'll commonly be known as the seller. There we have two roles. Um, I guess on this note, hiring an agent, just make sure it's the right agent, someone that's active. Unfortunately, our business brings in a lot of people that get the real estate license, and a lot of people get the license for different reasons, and it's okay. Though there's, close to 80% of people right now that hold a license that have not closed a transaction for the last 3 to 4 years. Just think of that. And what I ask you is that if you were to get in trouble with the law, would you want to hire an attorney that's been in court maybe one time in the last 4 years? Probably not. Or go to surgery to hire a surgeon that hasn't stepped into a surgical room for the last 3, 4 years? Probably not. Same thing here with hiring the right real estate agent. So make sure you look them up, make sure you speak to them. What have they done? Who's their support system? And even if they're new, it's okay. Just make sure that they have a good support system behind them. Okay, so that's the listing agent, the agent. Now, thirdly, we have a handyman, right? Or handyman, right? A crew. At least here at Casa Bella Realty Group, these are in-house people. We don't hire third party because we want to be fully responsible. Now, certain companies, certain agents have third parties, and that's okay as long as they support and take responsibility. Now, if handyman go do work and something's not done correctly, and you mention that to the agent that referred them, and they wash their hands by saying they not responsible for that, then that's not good. So here, to avoid that, we take full responsibility. They work at the company. So that's the next row, handyman and the crew, to go to the property and fix up anything that needs to fixing. Next, we have the hauler, debris hauler. This is someone that shows up, uncluttering the house, any unwanted furniture, any actual debris, maybe in the backyard. We have in-house people that will show up and haul this away in clearing up the property to make sure that it shows the best light when needed, right? For being able to attract the right buyer. Next, we have a cleaning crew. Okay. Even if you keep your home clean, it's always good to have another set of hands. You're going to be going through a lot by making this decision, and we want to be there for you as much as possible. And then if that's hiring another set of hands to go not only the first time, but maybe 2, 3 times throughout the process, just making sure keeping the house clean so it can show in its best light, right, to potential buyers. Once we prep the property with those roles, then we ask our photographer slash videographer to go to the property. And her role is to make sure that when she shows up through the lens, the property shows at its best, right? Great lighting, great shots, and same thing with the videos that are recorded. Because from that role, it goes to our next role, which is our content creator. Using those photographs as well as those videos recorded, our content creator would put those videos and those photos in front of the right audience of potential buyers on social media, all the different platforms, right? Depending on the demographic, depending on the price point, we need to make sure that our content creator is well aware of not only the creation of the content, but also the placement of that content that gets in front of the correct eyeballs, right? So, along with digital marketing, we also have offline marketing, which is our graphic designer in designing great flyers, great postcards that now, once designed, goes to our next role, which is our printer. And the printer obviously would print quality material to be distributed by our next role, which is our distribution team here at Casa Bella Realty Group, where we distribute these flyers and these postcards to the surrounding neighborhood, because statistically it's been proven that sometimes a neighbor might know a friend or relative that's looking to move into the neighborhood. So once we do get the right buyer, then we go to another segment of great people behind the scenes, which are our operational people, right? And we start with the transaction coordinator. And this is someone that makes sure that all the necessary paperwork is in the file, because in California, it's very important that we cross our T's and dot our I's for your benefit as the property owner, right? Because we're dealing with contracts here in California. So the transaction coordinator does pretty much everything that has to do with the paperwork and the timelines. And then we have our title officer in the team, right? And this title officer and his or her team, what they make sure is that the title is clear of any cloud. Now, this is very necessary to make sure that our industry is within integrity. People can sell and buy properties trusting the system, and lenders require title insurance, because in order for them to lend on a property, they have to make sure that there's no existing liens or any cloud. An example of a cloud could be 4, 5, 6 years ago, someone quit claim off your property. Okay, maybe you hired someone that didn't really know too much of how to do it correctly, and 6 years later to the present, that's going to show, and the title officer and his or her team need to make sure that that's cleared up. Okay, so next, we have escrow officer and their team, right? And what they do is to make sure that every party involved, not only owners and buyers, but all the different parties execute the contract. All the documents that need to be obtained are obtained. All the monies that need to be exchanged are exchanged. And the balancing of the file to make sure that all parties can trust down to the penny what happened with money, okay, as well as the documents. So that's the escrow officer and their team. Next, we have the insurance agent. Every property that's financed has to be insured against fires, okay, at the very minimum. And the insurance agent is key in these times that we're living, because as we know here in California, it's been very challenging with the insurance companies in the last few years. So working with the insurance agent closely and understanding what's happening to make sure that we can find the right insurance in a timely manner is key, and making sure that's affordable, right, for all parties involved. So the insurance agent. Next, we have what we call the natural hazard disclosure team, the NHD. Okay, they provide state mandated disclosures pertaining to the property. And these disclosures have to do with fire hazards, mudslides, earthquakes, very necessary here in California, which would help make the decision based on the insurance required. So very key, the NHD team. Next, we have, of course, the buyer. You as the property owner makes the initial decision to put your property on the market, gets the ball rolling. Though without the buyer, it kind of just stays there, right? Everything we've talked about up to this point, it's would be futile, right? Now here with the buyer, the ball continues to roll. So a buyer comes in. Now, of course, a buyer could be a cash buyer, could be someone financing, depending on the type of financing. All that has to be worked out during the transaction, but we do need a buyer. Next, we have In most cases, we may have a buyer agent, a separate agent representing that buyer. Next, we have an appraiser. Every property that's financed, and the reason for financing is to help you get more money for your property. If we allow a buyer to use leverage, usually they can pay a fair price for your property, retail price, which we call. Then, of course, an appraiser needs to get involved to appraise the property. Next, we have home inspectors, right? Uh, we recommend all buyers to do a home inspection on a property, right? You as a owner, potential buyer, we would recommend the same. Now, this is a third-party company. As a company, we're not allowed to recommend one particular home inspector. We here at Casa Bella Realty Group, we recommend three, at least three, and then you can select which one of those three. And these people, God bless them for what they do. I mean, for $250 to $400, they go in the attic, they go underneath the house. I mean, they give a full report and recommendations of any repairs that may be required. So that's the home inspector. Next, we have a loan processor, someone that takes the inbound loan from the buyer, processes all the necessary paperwork, and then hands it off to the next role, which is an underwriter, a loan underwriter. Now, this person will underwrite the loan, will check specs of the property, will check the appraisal and all the contracts involved, and make sure that everything's, running tightly, right? All the necessary steps have been taken. And of course, their job is to either approve or deny. And in this case, we push for approval, right? An approval of the loan, because without them approving, there's no money to buy the property. And if there's no money to buy the property, there's no relocation that's taking place. So underwrite is very key. Next, we have the movers, right? Because once everything takes place, then we can help you move, right? And that's where we come in as a company. We provide the movers up to 120 miles if you watch any of the previous videos. And then, of course, there's some other support people involved that are, notaries and so many others, right? These are like the gist of it. Now, that's why if from watching this video, you're getting an idea, a very good idea of the team involved in helping one transaction, okay? That's why the National Association of Realtors, which I'm sure you've heard of. If you haven't, that's our trade organization working with the employment agencies, have come up with a number that when someone buys or sells a property, they're employing directly anywhere between 34 to 38 individuals. And I read off a list of certain individuals involved, and within some of these, there's a mini team behind them. So yes, real estate not only benefits you in the long term, it also benefits the economy. So that's why I say whenever things are very uncertain of what's happening out there, if you have a reason, a good reason to want to move, trust that. Know that you're being part of the solution and not the problem. Because by doing so, not only are you going to help yourself, you're going to help the economy. All right. So I do thank you for watching. It was a mouthful, a lot of different items there. Though if you took mental note or notes, physical notes, hold us accountable. Give us a call, reach out to us, set up a no obligation meeting with one of our specialists. And if it makes sense to move forward, great. If not, at least you'll have this information. And when the time comes and when you are ready, at least you know what's involved and what are the benefits to you in moving forward with us here at Casa Bella Realty Group. Thank you.